tour now brings us to a very exotic language, Italian. There are many great words in English that come from Italian, particularly in two categories we all love, music and food. Italian has given us a lot in these two categories and many more words besides. So we're going to take a look at this gorgeous language and we'll start with a quick background and history of Italian. First of all, Italian is a Romance language, along with French and Spanish and Portuguese and Romanian. It's a Romance language, and by now we know that that means that Italian comes from Latin, specifically from Vulgar Latin. Now remember, at the point of time when Vulgar Latin was when Vulgar Latin was spoken, Latin was sort of diminishing, and all these national identities were starting to form, like France and Italy and Spain, and that's when each of those countries developed a unique language. And the language developed with those countries, and all of them stem from Latin, and they are, again, the Romance languages: French, Spanish, Italian, Portuguese, and Romanian. So that's where Italian comes from, which is, again, kind of old, not as old as Latin or Greek for sure, but kind of old, so that's why Italian has influenced English a lot. So again, Italian is from Vulgar Latin, and another effect from that is that Italian has many cognates, not only with English, but with Spanish and French as well. And this is probably because they, came from the same mother language, they were around the same time, same almost geographical area. So again, many cognates. So similar to French, I'm gonna abbreviate FR, Spanish, and English. Of course, English. So, there's a lot of words that are sort of counterparts of each other in all these languages. They're sort of like a big web, like they're tied together because of this common origin. Again, when you look at Italian words, you'll be able to recognize certain Latin roots in them, or you can see English counterparts in them. And again, that's very good for us. It makes the spelling much easier because we can recognize those. Okay, another thing about Italian is that it has various accents and dialects. And this is like for Italy, like in Italy, accents, dialects. In Italy, probably the Italian spoken in North Italy is a little different than the Italian spoken in, southern part of Italy. And that really happens in like all geographical areas for all languages. Take English, for example. There's a huge difference between British English and American English. A huge difference. And then within American English, you've got a New York accent, which is definitely different than a Southern accent. So that happens, in many, many geographical areas for, almost all languages. So Italian has that too, various accents and dialects. The good thing is that the Italian words we will look at in the dictionary are pretty mainstream, pretty similar, very consistent. So that's another bonus for us. Makes the spelling much, much easier. Okay, as I had mentioned before, Italian is, usually associated with music words and food words. Now there are a lot of categories like within these two categories, like for example, directions in music or certain tempos in music. Those words are from Italian. In food, Italian contributed a lot to pasta words. So there's many categories, within these two, and Italian's influence on those is huge. Okay. Also, there's a lot of art words, art, architecture, so very artsy words from Italian. That's why a lot of people love Italian so much, because, it's given so much in these particular fields. So that's something to look out for. Okay, now moving on to the spelling of Italian words. First of all, there are many, many vowels, and there's a lot of vowel endings, lots of words that end in A, E, I, O, or U. Many vowels, vowel endings, pretty common in Italian. Another language where this is common is Japanese, where almost all words, if not all, end in A, E, I, O, or U, or the letter N. But Italian, there are some other endings, consonant endings, but a lot of words end in vowels. And we'll see that as we move on. Now, speaking of consonants, Italian has a lot of double consonants. Lots of double consonants, like CC or LL. We'll see that a lot in Italian, so that's one more thing to keep in mind as we move on. And we'll see examples of this, lots of double consonants. Okay, now about the specific spellings, there are a couple spelling differences in Italian, which may not seem like so mainstream, compared to English. Like, it has its own spellings for certain sounds, just like German and French. And we're going to look at all that. And the good thing of all that is that Italian is fairly consistent. Fairly consistent. Again, very good for us because that just means that all the Italian rules we'll learn we can apply and we'll be right most of the time because Italian is good. It's good to us. It won't be too harsh on us because it follows its own rules a lot. Okay, so that concludes our quick background for Italian. And now what we're going to do is we're going to move on to our 10 sample words from Italian. 10 sample words, and we'll look at their spellings and pronunciations, sort of get a taste of the Italian language, just as we get tastes of Italian food, which is very good. Okay, taste of an Italian language. Let's start. Should be delicious. Okay, I'll put these food jokes aside, and we'll start with the first word, which I'll write out the word, then I'll write out the dictionary pronunciation. First word is pronounced chiaroscuro. Chiaroscuro. Okay, and let me write out what the dictionary pronunciation is. Remember, there's a lot of alternate pronunciations for these words. I'm just writing the first pronunciation given in the dictionary. So, chiaroscuro. Scuro. U with one dot. Scuro. Chiaroscuro. Okay, that's word number one. Word number two, bragazzo. Bragazzo. B-R-A-G-O-Z-Z-O. And this is pronounced bragazzo. Bragazzo, let's write it out. It's B-R with a schwa. The accent is on the second part. O with one dot, ga. So, bragazzo, bragazzo. Okay, we can already see that these are ending in O's, which are definitely vowels. Okay, next one, crescendo, another O word. Crescendo, I didn't do this on purpose, the endings with the O's. Crescendo, it's a music word, you might be familiar with that. Okay, a schwa with a dot on top, which is like short I, somewhat, cr. Then we have scendo, optional, like second. This means that the stress is optional for this part and the next part, which is do. So crescendo, not much of a difference there. You don't have to worry about that too much. Crescendo is our third word, and our fourth word is tagliatelle. 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 Okay, that's an E at the end. Let me fix that. Tagliatelle. And our pronunciation given. Talia. Okay. Tele. Again, that optional stress mark. Tagliatelle. And we'll do one more word on this page. Chiaroscuro, bragazzo, crescendo, tagliatelle, and maybe a word you've seen. It's a pasta. Fettuccine. 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 Now they're starting to end with E's. Fettuccine. Okay, this is a D stop, which is like it's not really a t sound and it's not a d sound. It's in the middle. It's fettuccine. Fettuccine. That's what the D stop is. we've got a schwa, feta. Okay, there's a schwa. Again, stress on the second part. Celli. Fettucelli. So these are our first 5 words. Chiaroscuro, Bragazzo, Crescendo, Tagliatelle, Fettucelli. Hopefully you've got sort of an idea of what Italian looks like. Okay, and let's move on to the next 5 words. So chiaroscuro, Bragazzo, Crescendo, Tagliatelle, and Fettucelli. Fettucelli. Okay, the next one is Sdrucciola. As such, Sdrucciola, this is pronounced Sdrucciola with a Z at the beginning, Sdrucciola. And this is written like this. U with 2 dots is U, Sdrucciola. So the stress is on the first part here, the first syllable, Sdrucciola, Sdrucciola. Okay, our next one, Sinfonietta. Sinfonietta, and it's written like this. This is an I, Sinfon, and then stress on the yetta part. Again, we have a D stop, yetta, Sinfonietta. Okay, the next word is Verdicchio. Verdicchio, like that, and it's written apostrophe, or not apostrophe, parenthesis, again that optional mark, don't have to worry about that too much, D, long E, optional K, and we'll see what that means in a second, Kyo. So this is Verdicchio, if you don't say this K, Verdicchio, and if you do, it's Verdicchio, Verdicchio. But when you say it fast, it's almost the same. Verdicchio or Verdicchio, you know, it's Verdicchio. Okay? Okay, word number 9. Word number 9 is Campanile. Campanile, and it is written like this. The pronunciation is Campa. This is a schwa. Then we have Nili. And our final 10th word is hopefully something you are familiar with. Pizza. Pizza, yep. The food we love. Pizza. Very Italian food. Let me change my color. Pizza. And hopefully if you've never unlocked the mystery of the spelling of this word, you will find out why it's pronounced pizza towards the end of all the Italian videos. We will, you know, solve the mystery. Why is this pronounced pizza? So that's why I included it in our list, because it's such a common word, and you know, we can realize hopefully the impact of Italian on English. Pizza is a very, very common word that we see all the time, we eat all the time. So, you know, again, a reminder of how important Italian is on English, and not just Italian, just all many different languages, the importance they have on English, because many common words, not just pizza, but there's so many words that we don't even know. We always take them for granted, but we never know, you know, what their actual origins are, and they, you know, usually come from many, many exotic languages. So let pizza serve a reminder, you know, that English is, you know, a mix of many, many languages, which is why it's, you know, such an interesting language. English is very interesting because it comes from all these different languages. Okay, back to Italian though. So these are our 10 words. Again, I'll say them. The first 5 were chiaroscuro, bragazzo, crescendo, tagliatelle, fettuccelle, and now we have sdruciola, sinfognetta, verdicchio, campanile, and pizza. Okay, so that concludes our 10 words, and we will come back to these 10 once we are done learning all our Italian rules and see if we can figure out their pronunciations and spellings. Okay, so now what we'll do is we will take a look at some common Italian stems that will pop up in many Italian words. We'll see them in examples. So what I'll do is I'll write stem, its meaning, and example. Example. A lot of these are endings, like stems that, occur at ends of words, and we'll see why in a sec. So let's start with the first one. The first one is going to be ati, pronounced ati, A-T-I. Basically, it's a pluralizer. It makes things plural. So it's a pluralizer, just like the letter S is in English. Pluralizer, an example would be literati, just like the educated mass of people, literati. You can see literature in there, literati, right? Okay, the next one is ella, E-L-L-A, and this is a diminutive, but Italian, just like many other languages like French, has masculine and feminine. Its words are sort of divided into masculine words and feminine words. Ella is a feminine diminutive. Diminutive. Okay, feminine diminutive. Put this around that. So ella is going to happen at ends of words to make them cuter or smaller or more lovable. So feminine diminutive example is fastanella, like that, E-L-L-A. Okay, just like E-L-L-E was in French, or E-T-T-E, which brings me to my next stem in Italian, which is E-T-T-A. So remember in French, L, E-L-L-E, and et, E-T-T-E, were at ends of words, and they were feminine diminutives. Same thing in Italian, just ella and etta. So etta is also, same thing, a feminine diminutive. Feminine diminutive, and an example with etta is fughetta. Okay, so ella and etta, feminine diminutives, and therefore we can guess that our next two stems are going to be masculine diminutives, which are ello and etto. Okay, so the O at the end makes it masculine. So ello is a masculine diminutive. Just going to write like this, masculine diminutive. Okay, example with ello is albarello, and etto is Italian stem, which is also a masculine diminutive. Lots of diminutive words in Italian. Okay, so example with etto is allegretto. Hopefully you can see what I was saying about the double letters, in double consonants in Italian. We have so many in these stems already, double L, double T, so we're going to see that a lot. So again, ella and etta, feminine diminutives. In Italian, their counterparts are just ello and etto, which are masculine. Okay, so that concludes these, and we'll look at some more stems. So ati is a pluralizer, and we know ella, etta, ello, and etto are our diminutives, which are feminine for ella and etta, and masculine for ello and etto. Okay, alright, our next stem in Italian is, there's actually two, write them out, E/ini, so and they both are ending, so they're going to be at the ends. Either something's, it's going to either end with an I or an I. Basically, it's a pluralizer, just like ati was. It's a pluralizer, makes things plural. pluralizer. Let's look at some examples. With E at the end, vermicelli, vermicelli, plural of vermicello, vermicelli, also vermicelli, okay? You've got just I at the end to make it plural. Usually if it's just I at the end, for a plural word, usually the singular version of that word is going to be the same thing, just ending with an O. Okay, so like vermicello, vermicelli, okay? O is the singular, I is the plural. An example with ini is zucchini. Zucchini. Another common word. Ini makes it plural. Think from zucchino, so zucchini. Again, that O thing. O is basically singular. The I or the I and I at the end make a word plural. Okay, so that's that for I and I at the ends of Italian words. And our next one is issimo. Again, at the ends of words, ISS, IMO, issimo. And this is an intensifier. It makes something more intense, or like louder, or basically more. An example is fortissimo. Something in music, you probably know forte means loud. Fortissimo basically means very loud. So issimo is an intensifier in Italian, and we're going to see it at the ends of a lot of music words, especially direction words and tempo words, because you either play something very loud or very soft, and to emphasize that very, we have issimo, which is it's an intensifier in Italian. So watch out for that, especially in music words. Okay, our next one is ita, pronounced ita. It basically is the same thing as ity in English. Ity in English, which means basically quality or state. So let me write that, quality or state. Quality or state. An example is sortita. Sortita. You're going to see this at, for a couple of Italian words, ita. Again, just same thing as ity in English. Okay? Okay, so ita. And we have one more stem to cover. So I and I, pluralizer. ISSIMO is an intensifier, and ITA means the same thing as ITY in English, basically quality or state. Okay? Alright, now the final stem we're going to look at is mente or menti. Menti or mente, it's pronounced both. Basically, it's usually a direction in music. So, direction in music. Again, we have that music. A lot of Italian words with music. It's pronounced either way. Dolcemente. Dolcemente. Dolce means soft or sweet. Again, it's going to be a musical direction. Okay, so that covers our stems in Italian. We've looked at our 10 words, sample words, and in the next couple of videos we will learn the vowel spellings and consonant spellings of Italian words, and learn the spelling rules and spelling patterns of Italian. Hope to see you then.